Henderson, I can't see anything on your screen.
I am ready to rock.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I finally managed to somehow make this work a little bit. It's easier to do when you don't have to collaborate with somebody. Like that was the hard part, was bringing you in like before the video started. But thank you for being here. We're gonna make this nice and short and sweet here.
Sure.
Had a few questions I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
And um, basically the title that I had made for the video is how we were able to double every quarter in 2023. And so tonight, my plan is to just ask you a few questions here, where how you've contributed as the COO to LC Financial Group and doubling the number of enrollments that agents get and doubling the number of agents that we've brought on board writing business. The first question I really have for you is, Ben, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you truly bring here to the table at the company.
Cool. Well, thanks for the introduction. And well, like you said, I bring a lot of different things to the table in terms of how I help the company, right? The way that I started was I met Ryan and I saw that he was doing something very special with within this industry. And I noticed that he has a very, very strong passion for what he does. He has incredible work ethic. I think he's unmatched. Like, honestly, like, I don't know anybody else that, you know, works as hard as he works and does what he does at the level that he does and provides opportunity to other people. So when I saw that, that's when I decided to join him. And just a little background about me. So I have a lot of experience in terms of building teams, working with teams, and helping people get the most out of their production, right? So I've had a bit of an entrepreneurial mindset, way of living since I was very little. I started selling my action figures on the corner of the street to my friends, and my parents used to be like super freaked out when I get home with money, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I sold my toys," and they're like, "Oh, okay." Like, you got more money than what we paid for them. I'm like, "Yeah, well, I told them that, you know, I already used them, so they didn't have to worry about them working or not." So anyways, always had that kind of idea of selling. I like the idea of making money. And then as I grew up more and more, I enjoyed helping people, right? So my mother took me out of school when I was 12 because I started doing things I shouldn't be doing. And it changed my life. She homeschooled me the rest of the way. And I started helping her with the school. And I helped her build that business up. And I graduated with her. And just have always dedicated myself to teaching and helping people learn. And so that led me to another industry, which was real estate. And I did that for a couple of years. And it helped me learn that there are very basic fundamentals to any team building that you're going to do in any sort of business, right? So I learned specific traits, characteristics, and things that apply to any group, apply to any part of a business. And when I started observing the successful points of action in those places that I had already participated in, I was able to streamline what are the most effective ways that I can help, you know, any group that I become a part of. So Ryan actually brought me on board before I even had an ounce of understanding about this industry. So he brought me on board because when he met me, he saw that I had a particular character about myself, and he saw something in me. He saw a potential to assist him in growing his company, and he went with his gut instinct. He didn't know if it was going to work or not. Neither did I. But we joined our forces, and then little by little, things just started, you know, climbing. One of the basic fundamentals that we do here in the company is we measure production through statistics and graphs, and we just see how that's going. We use that to predict what we're going to do, what we need to change, what we need to improve, what we need to stop doing. And so you learn that any company has basic points that show its faults and show its strengths as well. And it's all about pushing the things that strengthen and increase production and removing any obstacles or barriers that inhibit that. So in a nutshell, and it was probably a lot longer than what you expected. I know you probably have some questions for me, Griffin. But that's what I do is I now help implement systems. I help put into place policies and actions and sequence of action that anybody that joins the team can learn, follow, and then implement with other people that they then recruit and train and have work as part of their own unit if that's what they choose to do. Some people just decide to work under us and they like the leadership and they do great.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
that. And it's really cool to see that because sometimes I think people get underestimated and then what they may bring to the table isn't always seen the way that it should be. Maybe because the person could be new to the industry or the person could be someone who hasn't gotten a chance to prove themselves in that specific field. So I thought it was very important to know like a little bit about your background because you do some things that maybe don't get mentioned enough that you've done for years, which is you've helped sign people up for courses, you've helped people get through courses, you've helped work with people one-on-one to deliver a service to them, whether it be a study course or a problem that they've had for a long time that you went back to help them realize for themselves what that problem was so they can make it go away. So there's just a lot of things like that. How many years have you been doing things like that in your life? You've been around it when you were a kid. So like go to like where you're 15, 16,
Yeah.
and now you really start making a bigger impact in other people's lives aside from the school, which is also really cool because you were helping there as well. I didn't even really think about that, but yeah, not even
Yeah.
mentioning the school stuff, but like, and maybe even some of the stuff you did for the school on a more part-time basis later on while doing all those other things that I just mentioned. I'd like for you to touch on that.
Absolutely. So it's a good point. I went from the beginning all the way to the end, but the middle part, it's kind of what you're asking me about. So once I was taken out of school and I learned how to learn, essentially, my mom did a good job of doing that. I started working for our church, a nonprofit at a very young age, at the age of 15, and dedicating myself to that a cause to help people. And when I did that, I also was trained to assist people in how to study and how to learn. And so my background in studying and understanding how to study, right? Difference being that, typically in schools, as you know, Griffin, there are methods, ways of teaching that aren't really teaching. They're more like processes or ways of memorizing things to pass tests, regurgitate data. And so they don't actually measure your ability to produce, right? And what happens is like, you don't ever really get data that you can apply and use in your life. And so I think that one of my biggest advantages was when my mother took me out of school, she filled in the gaps and she helped me understand how to learn. And that was critical because it didn't matter what I wanted to learn after that. I had the ability to do that. And I still have the ability to do that, which is also why I was never afraid or deterred to jump into this industry and not having an ounce of activity in it before, right? And one of the things that played a part of, that earlier part of my life and helping people and enrolling people into courses and supervising them and helping them improve their lives was that I was able to develop my own skill and sharpen my own skills, with
Right.
being able to get people through a sequence of steps that's going to result in something tangible, right? Something that changes in their life, right? So when you can understand a process or a result that you're going for, right? Whatever it is, you want to fix a tire, you want to improve your ability to sell. It all starts with observing where you are, where you want to be, and then taking note of what are the things that need to change so that it matches that ideal situation or circumstance or scene or whatever it is that
Right.
you're trying to approach, right? So when you have the ability to learn anything, it's easy to figure out where you want to go with something and then just determine all the inside parts and steps that you need to figure out to do that, right? So honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done in assisting the company if it wasn't for Ryan's, um, he let me do this. He let me do my part, even though we both had never done something like this with another person, with each other or in the company. He gave me that free range to go in and see what I needed to see and figure out what was the best way to do things and then just implement that. So, as an example, there are a lot of steps, for the onboarding to get an agent ready to sell, right? So we put together policies and ways and structure that anybody that comes in can follow those steps and get the result that's intended. And by doing that, we're able to give anyone who follows these steps the opportunity to get the same results every time, right? So then we have put this into a system where if you can follow the steps and do them with discipline, you will achieve what you're supposed to achieve and set out to achieve within the company, right? So I think that one of the coolest things that we've been able to do quarter by quarter is increase the number of active agents writing business, increase obviously the number of hires. It came before that, right? And the training has become more streamlined, and we're able to get more results from the people that we have, right? So obviously something's being done right. And the last thing I'll touch on with regard to what you asked me, I know I went on a little more with that, more than what you asked for, but basically, like, if we're able to take interest in individuals, which is what I started doing, I started having one-on-one calls with all of the executives. They didn't even know who I was, right? They came on and they, some of the senior executives in the company were like, why is this guy that's never done insurance asking me about my life, asking me about what I do outside of work? What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Right? So when I started taking an interest in their lives, when I started taking an interest in how they do what they do, I started helping them remove things that didn't contribute to their success. And just by getting them to talk about what they were doing, right? Just supporting them and offering them whatever they needed from me. As an example, one of the executives had a rough time when I first started. His production kept going down, and he was really tough on himself because we obviously want to do our best and we want to have good results all the time. And I think that's a really good characteristic in a person. Like, a good trait is like, you're hard on yourself when you're not doing well because you care enough that you want to do well, right? So the thing with this executive was he was giving it his all, right? But he wasn't getting the results he wanted or was intending to get. And all I had to do was dig a little more deeper into his personal life and ask him, hey, like, what kind of things are you setting out to do at the beginning of the week, but you're not doing them? Like, you're not keeping your own personal discipline with those things, right? So a lot of the times you think there's like crazy things that are happening that are the reason behind low production in your life, or things not getting done, or things not being where they're supposed to be. And it's as simple as like, you're not doing the basic points of what it takes to be successful in that job or in that field, right? So I took him back to basics and I said, good, it's just basic discipline points that are out, that are not being done. How would you fix it, right? I always encourage the person to figure out, like, what can they do to handle it, right? Because nobody likes to just get told by someone else how to handle their life. It's their life. So then I just took a very big interest in each individual and getting them to see how they can improve things and how they can be more, proactive about solving situations with their job. And that's all we did was, I started doing that. We started putting in policy. We started really driving the production. We started playing games. One of our executives, shout out to Joe Pro, he started playing a game. This was at the end of this last quarter. He started playing a game with all the agents to get them more active. And we started playing for a raffle, right? So it started engaging more interest within the group. And so everyone tries to see, like, how can I add more value? How can we get more out of what we're doing, right? So I think that in a nutshell, that's basically all I did was I took interest in individuals. I took interest in the people, right? A company is just what? It's a shell for saying a group of individuals, right? But it's all individuals, and unless you're taking interest in each person and their own life, like what they're going through, it's you're not going to get the most out of your people, right? So it's everything in life goes by the hand, as you know. It's like you can't be successful at your job if you are unsuccessful with your discipline in your personal life, right? I'm sure you've experienced that in your life as well at some point, right? I've had it happen to me a couple of times, and I'd be lying if I didn't say that it was actually many times, right? So I think that's basically the essential point of success. Like the recipe of success that we took on was, let's get to know our people, let's take care of them, and implement basic points to measure production and get them to figure out how they can improve their production, because they can always do something to improve their production, right? Sometimes we get brought up in this culture that, oh, things just happen, right?
Right.
I hear that a lot when I start working a little one-on-one with people, and they say, and this has happened with a couple people in the company. I won't name them, but the point is, like, it's something that has improved. It's something that doesn't happen anymore. Like, I see them taking action to change things, right? Where in the past it was like, you've been on the phones for hours before, and like feel like you get that zombie dial mode, and you're just like dialing, and like, oh, someone finally answers, and you're like, oh wait, there's someone on the phone, right?
Right.
And so there's not a
100%.
lot of drive or purpose behind the activity at some point, right? So then it's like it becomes, oh, it was just a bad day, or these are bad leads, right? But anytime that we're putting the attention outside of our sphere of influence, we're being irresponsible with that, right? So we can't put that on something else or someone else. If it's external to you, you're not being responsible about it, right? It's like, because even if it was another person that was causing the problem, okay, well, are you doing something to handle that individual so they can actually change that, so they can actually improve that, right?
Wow.
So yeah, so that's pretty much it, man. It's I've taken a liking to the group that I have the honor, the pleasure of, guiding, and I'm very thankful to Ryan for, again, giving me this opportunity. I feel like that's something that took a lot of courage, and I appreciate his courage and his belief, confidence in what I'm doing. And many times, like, people in a role like mine can get stuck behind the scenes. I think you and I had talked about this before, but sometimes it happens. Like, you join a team and people are like, who is this guy? Like, why is he telling us what to do? Like, or they're used to seeing someone that just flashes a post title, like, like their name tag is the power, and it's not, right? One of the things that I most attribute my passion to leading others is, like, in leading others, is that it's a responsibility, right? And doing things from a perspective of duty as opposed to like job description, or you're supposed to, right? It's like, if the people around me aren't doing well, that's because of me, right? If they're doing great, it's because of me, right? And so I've always taken that approach with what I do and the people that I'm around. It's like, either I'm making them better, or I'm making them worse, or I'm not helping them get better, which is going to inevitably make them worse, right? So constantly seeing like how to add value. We talk about that a lot on our calls, is like, what can you do to add more value to your production, to your team, to the people that you're managing, right? So it's always like taking the approach on how to add more, right? So I don't know if you have more questions that you want to ask me, but
No, man, that's tremendous, so you covered a lot, and that's really, really valuable information. We could make, so much could go off of each thing. It's obviously a lot for a leader who's looking to maybe expand, what they're doing in their role. Obviously those qualities, they could make topics on each of those things, put it into a book, a manual, study it, drill it. There's so much to unpack with what you said. And obviously tonight we wanted to make this a bit of a shorter video, and we're right on time, and everything's going great. And so we'll definitely want to dive deeper into each of these subjects to show how and why LSC Financial Group is unique, and a place for others to come in and become the very best versions of themselves. And if they ultimately decide to work somewhere else, because eventually, people, they're not going to stay forever,
Yeah,
and
we understand that.
we don't expect them
Right.
to. But we want to make it a place where they feel that they could if they wanted to, because it really does pay to be a master and to stick in somewhere for a long time, because you become. I mean, 4 years of doing final expenses, every single year I feel that I've leveled up, and sometimes I felt, man, can I get better at this? And this year I was able to just get so much more done in less time because I was so much better at it. And I remember when I was new, it's like this anywhere. You face so much rejection if you're in a customer facing role, especially if you're trying to offer them a product or service that ironically they reached out for. There is a lot of resistance, but more so when you're not good at that job. So with all the tools we provide here, it's really important to mention and show everything that we're doing. Like, we're an open book. Um, we started doing these videos to show other people what we offer, and what you've just mentioned, everything that you talked about. You bring so much to the table, and you know everyone needs to know by watching this and seeing future and past content that they're going to have a guy like Ben in their corner to help them along the way. I mean, you're in your early 30s and you've been doing a lot of the same type of work for 20 years, almost
Yeah.
20 years. So that value and the passion, obviously it shows that you care about people, you like to help, and that you're passionate. And someone's going to be really lucky. I'm lucky to have someone like you to work with, who we can build something together, in an industry that, in my opinion, is the strongest industry in the world,
Yeah.
and creates more financial success for individuals and families than any industry or organization in the world. And we get to meet all kinds of people from all over the country and help them and add value to them. So Ben, um, thank you so much for everything you've said and done. Kind of in closing, um, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Because we could go forever,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
but
true. I can keep going, but
is
just I
anything else you
guess.
wanted to show that we could give to people that would differentiate our opportunity from maybe other opportunities that are out there? Because there's so many job
Yeah.
opportunities out there. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, I tell people in our calls, our one-on-ones, sorry, like in our opportunity calls, when somebody's gonna, interview with us to see if they're a good fit and if we're a good fit for them, I tell them, I'm like, look, we might not be the place, we might not be the right destination for you, but we're always gonna be all in assisting you to become the best version of yourself, right? We're always gonna be putting forth the strongest effort to help you and assist you, as long as you're willing to help yourself and be held accountable, right? So the three core values of our company are being coachable, right? Being ethical, and being accountable, right? These 3 points are huge to making sure that the person makes it and that the company makes it, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all coming together with a common purpose of helping other individuals, with their Medicare needs, but as a result of that, help ourselves, help our families, help our friends, help society, do something to improve the environment, right? So when you're joining us, you're not joining just another place to have a job. You're joining a place that provides you massive opportunity, right? Because we want you to thrive in every part of your life, not just in making a sale, right? We will make sure that you know how to sell your products and services, right? But more importantly, we will make sure that you are putting the right attention and intention in becoming a better person for yourself and for the people around you. And I think that sets us apart.
yeah, man, that is tremendous, because we've all had a job where we were just a number. Um, I mean, I don't like to use generalities, but I think most people in the audience could raise their hand and say, I've been in a position where I felt the opposite of what we bring to the table, and so we, we really do want to see people do well. We thank everyone who will take the time to watch this, did watch this. This is something that we're going to do on a regular basis. Please like and share. We really appreciate the support because we want to help other people achieve their goals through a
Hey,
way
and
that they can provide for their family.
yeah, and honestly, like if there's anything we can do better, anything at all, we'll take the criticism like champs because we want to be coached on this. This is new to us as well,
Yeah.
just jumping on these and doing them. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
Comment below any
Comment.
mistakes you observed.
Yeah, anything that
Make
we can
sure.
do better.
Yeah, because there's plenty of them. I can think of 10 of them right now.
Yeah, me too.
So, we do the best we can at the moments that we're given. And so please like and comment. Reach out to Ben. Ben, what's the best way for somebody to reach out to you or to us if they wanted to be a part of this organization and help people in the financial services, the insurance industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, definitely they can always go to, which is something I loved from the moment I joined this company. They can always go directly to our founder and our CEO, Ryan Lodi. They can contact him directly through social media at Ryan Lodi. And they can always message us on Facebook, on any of our platforms, on Instagram. And they can even email us at the careers at teamlcfg.com and just send send their information, say, hey, I'm interested in knowing more about you guys. Can I get on an opportunity call with you and see if this is something I can do? And honestly, if you're new to this space, if you've never done it, we have the ability to equip you with the skills, knowledge, and ability to make something to the point where this is a career for you. This is an opportunity, and we'll take you from the beginning of getting, through your pre-license all the way to writing business. So if you want to reach out to us, you can definitely do that. You can always reach us, this way via social media, I think is the most effective way. And that's pretty much it. Just email us or message us, and we're always going to be ready to, get in touch with you and answer you as soon as we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ben. It's been a pleasure doing these videos with you, getting to learn, even more about you than I already do, and, grow closer as a team and as an organization. So with that being said, thank you so much again for your time, and I look forward to our very next one. Stay tuned. We'll be putting more content out. Everybody, have a lovely night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.